Let's start with the sky in clear. Everyday language so you know why this day matters for a Cancer rising. On 23rd August, the Sun and the Moon meet in Leo. That meeting is called a new moon. Two lights occupying the same slice of sky, closing one emotional loop and opening another. New moons are like switching the room lights off and on again. The furniture stays, but the mood shifts and the eyes adjust. This new moon happens close to the south lunar node, a mathematical point connected with release, decluttering, and the wisdom of letting go. In plain terms, the day is biased toward retiring scripts that no longer fit, especially those related to pride, performance, or inherited expectations. There are two additional sky mechanics useful to understand. First, Mercury, the planet of thinking and messaging, makes what astronomers call a northward ecliptic crossing in the early hours. That just means Mercury crosses the Sun's apparent path from the southern side to the northern side. And in lived experience, it often lands as quick shifts in how we think, speak, and coordinate. More insights and faster threads, but also more typos or misfires if we rush. Second, the Sun forms a quincunx with Saturn later in the afternoon. A quincunx is a 150-degree angle whose entire personality is a just the fit. If the Sun is vitality and direction, and Saturn is rules, timelines, and responsibilities, this geometry doesn't demand a halt. It wants edits. Move a milestone rather than fight a wall. Change a method rather than burn yourself out. Meanwhile, Mars in Virgo stands across the sky from Saturn in Pisces, a face-off between the part of you that wants to fix the small stuff and the part that insists on compassion and pacing. Add Jupiter in Gemini, cheering for inner growth and quiet learning. Rahu in Aquarius, pushing you to evolve through trust and depth. Pluto, still renovating your approach to partnership. Uranus electrifying your network and future plans. And Venus swimming through Cancer, encouraging nourishment and self-regard. And you have a day that is quieter than it looks, but far more consequential than it sounds. With that map in place, let's speak directly to you as a Cancer ascendant in a modern, psychological voice, keeping the spiritual thread only where it helps you live this well. For Cancer rising, the new moon in Leo lands in the part of life that handles money, resources, voice, values, and the stories that run through the family line. Think of it as the acoustics of your life. What you say out loud, what you hold dear, how you sustain yourself, and which ancestral phrases echo in your speech without you noticing. The presence of the release point beside the new moon acts like a gentle vacuum for heavy, outdated scripts around worth and belonging. If you grew up being the caretaker, the stabilizer, the reliable one who finds the wallet, cooks the meal, pays the bill, soothes the room, the day invites an honest pause. What does your own voice sound like when it isn't carrying everyone else's weather? What number would you name for your work if you priced it without apologizing? What food would you cook if you fed your body as kindly as you feed the people you love? This is not a day for grand declarations about value. It's a day for a simple, brave sentence that changes how you treat yourself. This is my rate. This is my budget. This is my boundary. This is the kind of honesty my tongue will practice from now on. Morning hours may feel like low tide. That's not failure. It's an intelligent lull before the restart. Use it to make the second house real. Clean a wallet. Balance a small account. Put a jar on the counter for a very specific savings goal and put something in it. Write one page of values you want your life to reflect this season. 3 or 4 sentences are enough. If family stories about money, food, or loyalty are loud in your head, write one down and ask, is this still true for me, or did it just help them survive? When you soften your jaw and tell the truth about what you need, the whole nervous system hears, "We are safe enough to be honest." Your sign is ruled by the moon. You feel everything. But your power is not in absorbing the room. It is in designing a room where your feelings and your voice can live. Because Mercury is crossing the sun's path, and Mercury is moving through Cancer, you're thinking about yourself, your words about yourself, and your self-presentation are all in a gentle pivot. You might feel the urge to change a bio line, update a headshot, rewrite a website paragraph, or text someone with a message that sounds more like who you are now. Do it, but do it slowly. Read the first and last line of any message before you hit send. Confirm recipients and attachments. Aim for warmth over flourish. The point is not to market, it's to mean it. When your words match your interior, money and care become simpler because people understand what they are saying yes to. Now, somewhere else in your chart, Mars in Virgo is busy in the zone of everyday courage, micro skills, siblings, neighbors, short trips, and the practical rhythm of messages and tasks. It wants to fix the small things, the drawer that jams, the calendar that confuses, the way the household decides about groceries, the template that would save your team an hour a week. Across the sky, Saturn in Pisces is stationed in the part of life that governs belief systems, meaning, study, and long-term vision. Their face-off is a training day for scaling your life. The Mars side says, "Let's make the small things smoother." The Saturn side says, "Let's be honest about what the big things ask of us." If you rush to perfect the tiny stuff, you'll feel like you never touch the soul of the matter. If you hide in lofty vision, the sink keeps leaking. The healing move is to pick one small system to repair and one belief to tell the truth about. Create a shared grocery list everyone actually uses, and admit that your next educational step needs a modest budget and a realistic timeline. Tighten the hinge and talk to your mentor. Label the shelf and open the book. When local courage and long-range meaning shake hands, Cancer stops mothering the world and begins stewarding it. There's more. Jupiter is traveling through Gemini, the most private room of your chart, the place of sleep, solitude, dreams, and the quiet ways we give things back to the world. It is cheerfully expanding your inner life, your capacity to heal in silence, and your relationship with the unseen. On a day like this, that encouragement often appears as a nudge to rest more deeply, to learn something in private that nourishes your soul, or to donate quietly where it matters. You might have an overseas thread in your life, a remote friend or teacher, or a retreat impulse that keeps knocking. Listen. When the part of you that nobody sees is fed, the public part becomes kinder and braver without trying. Jupiter also has its gaze on the region of trust, intimacy, shared resources, and psychological depth. That means that your inner work has ripple effects in your deepest bonds and in your relationship to risk, debt, and inheritance. In plain terms, when you sleep better and tell yourself the truth in private, you make cleaner agreements with others about money, time, and touch. That is not abstract astrology. That is Tuesday night dinner felt differently because your body is less afraid. Speaking of intimacy and trust, Rahu is moving through Aquarius in your zone of depth and entanglement. It can make life feel like a lab for transformation. Conversations about inheritances or taxes or shared affairs. Sensations that the old rules for closeness are cracking. Curiosity about therapy, trauma-informed work, breath work, or any practice that lets your body process what your mind cannot logic away. On the other side of the sky, the new moon with the release point in Leo sits in the region of voice, money, and family story. That axis makes a simple equation. When you tell the truth about value in broad daylight, your nights become safer because trust becomes possible. If there's a pattern of silence around a shared account, a subscription, a password, a monthly obligation, or an unspoken resentment, pick one and put light on it. You don't need drama. You need a sentence that begins, "To feel safe, I need." Cancer is allowed to ask for what makes the waters steady. Partnership is in steady renovation too, because Pluto is trekking through Capricorn, the region of your one-to-one bonds and contracts. This isn't a single-day story. It's a slow tectonic shift you've been feeling for years. On a day of edits and resets, it might show up as a conversation where you name a dynamic that always steals oxygen, and you agree to a new micro-ritual. Or as a negotiation where you present options calmly instead of pleading. Or as a decision to remove the word should and replace it with I will and I won't. Power for Cancer is often misunderstood. People expect softness and hospitality. Let them be surprised by your spine. A clear boundary delivered in a warm tone is not a contradiction. It's your birthright. Friends, networks, patrons, and future plans are being electrified by Uranus in Taurus. This is the part of your life that holds the larger circles you move through, the hopes you name out loud, the allies who make things possible. Uranus is the patron saint of new ways and new people. For you, that can show up as sudden opportunities through a friend of a friend, a group experiment that teaches you faster than any course, or a crash course in technology that makes your work circulate in rooms you couldn't enter before. The shadow is over-promising or scattering your attention across too many communities. The medicine is to choose smarter rooms, not louder rooms. Pick 2 communities that actually share your values and invest there. Share 1 helpful resource a day. Introduce 2 people who would benefit from knowing each other. Notice how the future starts to feel nearer when you choose it deliberately. Career and reputation sit at the top of your chart under Aries, with its crisp, pioneering energy. The Sun's quincunx to Saturn highlights the tension between your public ambitions and the reality of time, rules, and obligations. If a supervisor pushes for a deadline you know will hurt quality, don't go silent and don't explode. Offer options with trade-offs. We can keep the date and narrow the scope. We can keep the scope and move the date. Or we can add help and keep both. If you're your own boss, treat yourself like a leader and a worker at once. The leader sets a humane timeline. The worker keeps the craft honest. Cancer's deepest strength at work is not martyrdom. It's stewardship. Steward the schedule. Steward the budget. Steward the health of the team. That's the kind of quiet competence that gets remembered when titles shuffle and org charts redraw. Let's walk through the day so it becomes a lived thing in your body. In the morning, treat your space like an ally. Change the linens. Put a glass of water by your bed for tonight. Arrange a bowl of fruit where you actually see it. If someone shares your home, do a small task, shoulder to shoulder. Wipe a counter together. Fold laundry together. Fix a squeak together. Your nervous system understands shared labor faster than shared speeches. Prepare a simple, warm breakfast and eat it without a screen. You are teaching your body that home is not a staging area for caretaking the world. It's a place that cares for you first, so that you can care without resentment later. By late morning and into early afternoon, choose 1 money or voice action that your future self will thank you for. Send the rate. Cancel the stale subscription. Open the high-yield account. Order the inexpensive tool that will make a recurring task shorter. Rewrite the first paragraph of your website so it sounds like a person who trusts herself. Report a short voice memo of how you want to speak to your own heart this season, and save it as a private reminder. If you feel fear, don't suppress it. Thank it for protecting you, and take a smaller step. But still step. Cancer courage is tidal. It comes in waves. Today, you don't need a tsunami. You need a reliable tide that moves shells from the shore to the sea and back again, 1 breath at a time. Afternoon brings the Sun's adjustment with Saturn. If there is a mismatch, between what you hope to do and what is truly possible. Respond like a builder, not a critic. Edit your plan. If another person is involved, write a short, kind note that explains the options. If you catch yourself rushing to over-deliver to avoid disappointment, pause and ask whose disappointment you are trying to manage, theirs or the ghost of someone you used to need to please. Let the ghost go. You are not a child in that house anymore. You are an adult in your own life, and adults get to choose timelines that protect sanity, craft, and trust. Late afternoon and evening are for nourishment and bonding, because Venus is in Cancer and wants your life to feel like a soft place to land. Cook or order something warm and simple. Put your phone away 45 minutes before bed. Light a lamp that makes your room feel kind. If you share your life with someone, ask an easy question that invites connection without pressure. What felt unexpectedly good today? Answer it yourself, too, with specifics. If you live alone, be that gentle companion for yourself. Speak your answer out loud. The sound of your own kindness shapes the waters you sleep in. Health on a day like this flows from boundaries and basics. Your digestion improves when your mind is calm and your meals are warm. Your neck and jaw soften when you stop clenching around other people's needs and tell the truth about your own. Your sleep deepens when you treat the last hour of the day as sacred. Dim lights, warm shower, no news, a page at a paper book, phone face down out of reach. If you train, choose form over intensity and favor movements that open the chest and strengthen the back, the literal cradle of your heart. Think rows, gentle rotations, breath you can hear. Your body is not a problem to be solved. It is a home to be furnished with kindness. Emotionally, the theme is sovereignty without walls. You are allowed to have feelings, and you are allowed to have edges. If tears come, let them. If a wave of old anger rises when you count how often you've paid for peace with your own well-being, don't turn that anger on yourself. Use it to power a boundary. Say no, not this way, and offer the way that is possible for you. If sadness visits, assume it has information rather than judgment. Sit with it for a few minutes. Breathe. Then pick one gentle task that moves your day forward a little. Emotions are weather, values are climate. Today, your climate is changing towards self-respect. Weather can be handled if you carry the right layers. Relationships of all kinds benefit from clear, kind speech. If there is a pattern of you anticipating needs to avoid conflict, test a different pattern. Ask what is actually needed and offer what is actually possible. If you find yourself tempted to give more than you have so no one feels pain, remember that pain postponed becomes resentment, and resentment erodes intimacy. Cancer love is oceanic when it is free. It becomes swampy when it is forced to compensate for other people's avoidance. Offer your ocean, not your swamp. That means loving generously inside limits that protect the tides. On the community front, think contribution over performance. The friends and groups that matter will value your practical kindness more than your ability to be everywhere. Share a useful spreadsheet, a recipe, a contact, a thoughtful note of thanks. Introduce two people who should meet. Don't measure your belonging by how many events you attend. Measure it by how often you leave an interaction with both people more resourced than before. Uranus in Taurus loves when you build surprisingly helpful bridges. You don't have to build a highway. A well-placed footbridge is plenty. Work can be navigated with the same principle: options, not ultimatums. If leadership is distant or confusing, don't fill the silence with catastrophes. Send a brief update that names what you did, what you learned, and what you will do next. If leadership is pushy, don't collapse. Show them the math and invite a decision among alternatives. If you are leadership, model the grown-up edit. We are going to scale this to protect quality. People remember the leader who protects craft and humans more than the one who squeezes both to make a date no one will care about in a month. There is quiet spiritual work woven into the day, and it does not require elaborate rituals. It asks for gratitude that is specific. If you have altars or photos or small objects that hold memory, dust them, arrange them, and say thank you out loud to the people who taught you how to care. If the word ancestors fits, use it. If it doesn't, say all the hands that lifted me. Then ask yourself what kind of ancestor you are becoming for the people who will remember you. The answer is not a title. It is the quality of kindness you practice when no one is watching. The South Node beside a new moon in your house of voice and value is not only about money. It is about the currency of your words. Speak as if a child who trusts you is listening. From the inside, anxiety may flicker because Mercury's crossing can make the mind bright and twitchy, while Mars-Saturn can make the body tense. When worry spikes, don't try to outthink it, outcare it. Drink water. Put both feet on the ground. Name 5 things you can see, 4 you can feel, 3 you can hear, 2 you can smell, 1 you can taste. Then do one small task that brings a tangible improvement to your immediate world. A wiped counter, an email sent, a bill paid, a plant watered. Your mind believes action more than self-talk. When anger shows up, assume fatigue until you've checked basics. Food, water, breath, sleep. If a boundary must be set it in 1 or 2 sentences, and then exit the argument. Your words are powerful today. Use them economically. If grief arrives, remember that grief is not proof that you are doing life wrong. It often means you loved correctly. Sit with it for a little. Then carry it with you into a simple act of beauty. Wash a cup slowly. Put on a song your body likes. Step into a patch of sunlight if there is one. Let beauty be the river that moves grief from stagnation to flow. Cancer doesn't need to exile big feelings to function. Cancer needs to give them a well-built dock so boats can come and go without capsizing the harbor. Before bed, close the day with a tiny accounting that honors the 2nd house and the 12th together. Write down 3 things you stewarded well: money, voice, care, and 3 things you released to the night: a worry, a task, a story about yourself that hurts. Put the list somewhere you'll see in the morning. You are training your system to trust that night brings repair and morning brings choice. That trust is not naive. It is the foundation of resilience. If you want a single sentence to carry in your pocket today, let it be this: I can be generous without abandoning myself. If you want a practical anchor, choose this: I will give my voice the same care I give my home. If you want a tender promise, try this: I will feed myself like someone I'm responsible for. These are not hashtags. They are hinges. Doors open on hinges. The deeper arc of the day is simple. A new moon near the South Node in your house of value asks you to stop proving and start belonging. To your own mouth, your own budget, your own kitchen, your own truth. Mercury's crossing in your sign says your language about yourself is changing to fit the person you have become. Mars and Saturn train you to scale the small stuff and the big stuff without tearing yourself in half. Jupiter in your inner sanctum promises that rest and learning in private are not a detour. They are the road. Rahu in your depths invites brave, honest agreements in rooms where trust is forged. Pluto in your partnerships asks for backbone with warmth. Uranus in your network rewards wise, surprising connections. Venus in your sign reminds you that tenderness is not a luxury, it is infrastructure. You do not have to prove your worth on 23 August. You have to practice it. Practice it in money by naming your rate and honoring your budget. Practice it in speech by choosing words that are plain, kind, and true. Practice it in the body by eating warm food and sleeping in a room that feels like safety. Practice it in love by offering what you can actually sustain and saying no to what you cannot. Practice it in work by editing the plan and protecting the craft. Practice it in community by contributing something genuinely useful and letting fame take care of itself. If you do only one brave thing, speak a clean sentence about value, your time, your care. If you do only one practical thing, adjust a plan so the plan is humane. If you do only one tender thing, cook or share something warm and eat it without a screen. And if you do only one spiritual thing, say thank you to the line of hands, seen and unseen, that taught you how to care. And then aim that care at yourself with the same sincerity you offer the world. That is not selfish. That is how the tide comes in, fills the harbor, and then goes out to feed the wider sea. When tomorrow arrives, it will meet a Cancer who sounds like herself, spends like she respects herself, loves like she trusts herself, works like she protects what matters, and rests like she intends to be here for the long, beautiful haul. That is the real wealth this day is offering. Not applause, not performance, not martyrdom. Belonging, nourishment, and a voice that feels like home, even as you speak it into rooms that have never heard you this clear.